Several parts of our region continuing to rebuild a month since Hurricane Helene hit our region, which includes parts of Greene County. Several roads and bridges still closed due to flooding damage, and that's where we find News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel. Ansley, you'll be learning more about recovery efforts in Greene County today, right?
Yes, Casey, I'm standing here on the Tusculum side of the Kinser Bridge. It's one of those that has been wiped out. I'm going to step out of the way to show you just how extensive the damage is here. And this is just one of several bridges here in the county. Several roads are also still out. You know, Hurricane Helene really impacted this area. But coming up tonight at 5 o'clock, you're going to hear from the mayor. You're going to hear from the EMA director. You're also going to hear from EMS, as they do have a substation on the other side of this area. You'll also be hearing an update on the roads, and we're also going to talk to an organization called AidNet that's helping the people here in the region. We're going to explain how they're helping those right here in Greene County. We're also going to learn a little bit about the economic impact of this storm and how small businesses here are being impacted. So a lot to come up at the 5 o'clock hour tonight, but I'm going to go ahead and send things back to you in the studio.
It's been over a month since Hurricane Helene hit our region, and communities are still working to recover. This week, News Channel 11 is headed to your communities to ask local leaders how those recovery efforts are going. Our first stop on this Monday, Greene County. Several roads and bridges still closed because of the flooding damage. That's where we find News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel. Ansley, what's the latest on the damage assessment there in Greene County?
Hey Casey, I'm standing here near the Kinser Bridge on the Tusculum side of Greene County. We showed you earlier during First at 4 the damage here, but I'm also standing here with the EMA director, Heather Sipe, and her operations officer, Letitia Ricker. Thank you both so much for joining us today. Well, first off, a month later, tell me, where do things stand here in Greene County?
As of October 11th, we were in full recovery mode. So we still are in recovery mode as of today, and we will be in that for a lengthy period of time.
We know there's a long road ahead and a lot of work to be done, but let's talk a little bit about the status with FEMA and what you want folks to know about that.
Okay, absolutely. Just got some information about FEMA that we want to make sure everybody's aware of. Obviously, the deadline to apply is December 2nd. We do have online registry at disasterassistance.gov. Also, you can call 800-621-3362, and that's 7 a.m. to 12 midnight. You can use the FEMA app on your smartphone. And also, we do have a DRC, which is a disaster recovery center in Greene County that you can do in person with FEMA, and that's located on the lower level of the courthouse annex, and that's at 204 North Cutler Street in Greenville, and that's open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 12 noon to 5 p.m. on Sunday.
And we know that deadline is coming up quick. What do you want folks to know about FEMA and applying for the deadline?
Of course, FEMA has been canvassing for almost a week now, and that means going door to door, and they are doing that, and they are making some headway, especially along the affected areas along the Nolichucky River, which in Greene County encompasses 32 miles.
And let's talk a little bit about the damage numbers. Let's talk about how many homes were destroyed and just how much damage was done, and do you have any cost estimates right now? Sorry. There you go. No, you're good.
So on the damage assessment process, as of today, 10/28/24, we are near about 100 structures. The categories of damage include minor, affected, inaccessible, and of course destroyed. 16. Okay, there was 16 structures that were inaccessible, sorry. But the total damage number that we have is over $22,549,475.
And I know that there are obviously some farms destroyed and things of that nature. What do you want folks to know about the destruction of the farmland and what they can do for help?
So the UT Extension Office and the Department of Agriculture are currently getting numbers on how much farmland, crops, and livestock was affected. We're working patiently, trying to get those numbers, and anything that we can do to help, obviously, you can call our office and I'll connect you with any resources that I might have that can help the farmers and what they're going through.
And quickly, last question. I know that there were a number of rescues the day that this happened. Let's talk a little bit about what that was like and, how that impacted the people here in the county.
During the chaos, which is what we considered September 27th and 28th, there were 12 water rescues that were completed by local rescue departments. Also, we had a lot of mutual aid that came in from different counties to help us with those water rescues. And then also we did have one fatality in Greene County.
Yes, I know that was such a tough time, and to see all the destruction now, a month later, it's going to be a long load. But thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us this afternoon. And coming up in the next few minutes, we will have the mayor talk to us a little bit about where his office stands about a month later following Helene, and what the long road to recovery is going to continue to look like here in Greene County. But for now, Casey, I'll send things back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Mark. It's been just over a month since Hurricane Helene hit our region. Communities around the Tri-Cities still working to rebuild. News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel joins us from Greene County. She's standing by with Greene County Mayor Kevin Morrison with an update on damaged debris cleanup due to the flooding. Ansley?
Yeah, hey Casey, we're here at the Kinzer Bridge, still in Greene County, talking to the leaders here about where things stand about a month after Helene just battered the region. Mayor, thank you so much for being here today.
Ansley, thank you for being here.
Yes, well, first off, there are a lot of questions coming in to the newsroom about debris pickup and where that stands and what people need to do with that. What do you want folks here in Greene County to know about the debris pickup process?
Well, since we've transitioned to the debris disposal, the debris pickup, the National Guard was performing that task here in Greene County, and they left they were recalled back to Nashville and left as of Thursday, and the Greene County Solid Waste Department is going to take over that mission. So they're still going to be gathering up debris. So if you're in the flood zone, an affected property or landowner in the flood zone, then you can stack your debris, vegetative or construction debris, within 10 feet of the roadway, and solid waste, Greene County Solid Waste, will pick it up. Now, what we do ask the homeowners to do in those affected areas is to call area code 423-620-8482, and that's Mr. Matthew Collins out at our debris management site, and we'll get you on the list and on the roster to pick it up.
And let's talk a little bit about the water restoration here. I know that was a big topic, especially right after the storm hit, but where do things stand with water restoration?
Well, right now, all utilities, all water utilities, as well as the Greenville Energy Authority, are reporting that they have 100% of their customers back in service, so for electricity and water. So if we have affected folks, or your services are not on, you need to pick up the phone and call GEA, or you need to call your respective water utility so that they can come out and assess what the problem is and get your service back on.
And we know that this is just the beginning. What does the long-term plan look like for recovery here in Greene County?
Well, the disaster management portion obviously, has ended a week or so ago, and now we're on to the recovery phase. The long-term recovery is going to take a while. As you can sort of see the debris in the river behind you, the debris around the bridges and whatnot, is going to take a while to do that recovery. But recovery does continue. We've got the DRC open for affected homeowners and landowners that Heather talked about earlier. The debris disposal is ongoing. Those are part of our ongoing operations. Bridges obviously are a big thing. The transportation and communication links across the river, one of which is here, managed by the state of Tennessee. They've already let the contract for this bridge with Kiewit Construction, and the projected completion time is June of 2025. So that's a very ambitious plan to get a bridge as big as this one built, but we've also got a plan to repair our bridges here in the county. We've got two that were affected. We had Bird's Bridge that the engineers are continuing to assess and that we think is repairable. We'll certainly see when the engineering report comes back. And then we have Poplar Springs Bridge, which was completely washed out. That's a span of about 450 feet. I know the road superintendent's busy working on that as well. We will rebuild that, maybe not as an ambitious timeline quite as the state's got going on. And then the state has Ernest Bridge just east of here that they're working on as well, doing some remediation work to hopefully get that bridge opened one lane here in the next week or two. But that's pretty much the recovery report in those types of areas. Of course, there's a lot of work that the homeowners and landowners have to do, but we're going to stay at this until everybody's completely restored.
All right, Mayor Morrison, thank you for the update, and thank you for being here tonight.
Ansley, thank you.
And again, you know, the road to recovery is going to be long here, and there are a lot of key players in making sure that the region gets recovered in the best way possible. So coming up in a few minutes, you're going to hear from AidNet. That's a nonprofit here in Greene County dedicated to helping the folks here. So again, stick with us because more great information coming your way. Casey?
Nonprofits from across the country have been lending a helping hand to our region in the wake of Helene, one of those AidNet. They've been offering resources to those in need for the last month. We return to Greene County where we find News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel, who's with Jeff Idell of AidNet. Ansley, tell us a little bit about how that organization works.
Hey, Casey. Yeah, AidNet is a great nonprofit here in Greene County. They have been on the ground since day one helping folks, and I'm actually standing here with the president of AidNet, who's going to tell us a little bit more about it. So for people that aren't aware, what is AidNet?
AidNet is a long-term recovery group. We're set up here in Greene County, very well organized. We worked through the 2011 tornadoes, and it took 2 years to help rebuild the homes back then, and so we know this is going to be a long-term recovery, and we're set and ready to help restore the homes here for the people that's in this disaster.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what you are offering for people here in Greene County and how you're helping.
So right now we are working through the application process. It started Friday, and we are set up at Trinity Church during the day, 10 to 2, and each day, and we will be taking applications online and for the people, and we're set up right now to go back in and help restore their homes.
For people that are impacted, who are the ones that you are really focusing on right now?
We're focusing on the people that has children that's lost their home, and the elderly. That's who we'll focus on first, and we'll help them as soon as we can get back in their homes. And we're really focusing on any of these homes that is basically they've taken it back to the drywall or to the studs. They've taken the drywall out, and we're going to help get them back in their homes as fast as we can. And then the long-term recovery is set to build the homes back that's totally destroyed.
And there are a lot of folks that want to know how they can help and what they can do to help people like you and groups like you. What can they do?
Well, right now the best thing is monetary donations at this time, and as we get through the assessment period and get these cases on board and decide who we're helping exactly, and then the next step is we can take donations for, we have a warehouse set up in Greenville. We have 40,000 square feet here set up and ready to accept donations, and we're looking for building materials. Like right now, we're looking for 12-2 wire, Romex, insulation, and flooring, and any type of materials to help rebuild. And then that's pretty much it. We're ready to set to help rebuild.
All right. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for joining us here today. And again, boots on the ground here working to help this county recover. Now, coming up in a few minutes, you're going to hear an update about the roads and the bridges here in Greene County and where things stand with that. And also, you'll hear an update from the EMS operations director, as they do have to have a substation out in the county. So hear a little bit about what operations look like for them. Casey?
Ansley, thank you very much. We will check back with you with all that great information in just a little bit. Parts of Greene County still struggling with road and bridge damage. That's where we find News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel. Ansley, what can you tell us?
Hey, Casey, I'm here with the Assistant Road Superintendent here in Greene County, Mr. Gary Rector. Now, thank you so much for joining us today. I know we've got a lot of questions about where the status is when it comes to the roads and the bridges here. So first off, let's talk about which bridges are out.
Well, as far as county routes, we've got Poplar Springs Road, which is washed completely away, and then Old Asheville Highway, which is called Bird's Bridge, and it's still standing, but it is closed.
And let's talk about the road situation. I know that in the beginning it was extremely hectic, a little less hectic now, but still rough.
Yes, it's still rough. We have all the debris as far as our part of the debris is removed and up, but we still got some roads that have got structural damage to them that we've got to rebuild. We're in a holding pattern on that, waiting on the engineering and stuff to tell us what they need to do to fix them.
And speaking of that, what does the timeline look like, and what's that process like for making sure these roads and bridges are repaired?
Well, the roads will be quicker than the bridges. The roads, you know, you're looking at a 60 to 90 day assessment and then start work. Bridges, you're talking maybe a year down the road on them.
All right, and I know that the bidding process has been difficult. Real quick, what is that looking like for you all, and has that been a challenge?
Yeah, well, it's still in the engineering phase, so the bid will be after the engineers get done with it. So I don't know when that'll be.
All right, Mr. Rector, thank you so much for joining us here this afternoon. We really appreciate it. And coming up in just a minute, we'll talk about how those road closures impacted EMS operations. So Casey, I'll send things back to you.
Greene County EMS has also been struggling due to flood damage to roadways, so much so that they were forced to open a substation for the time being. We return now to Greene County, where Ansley Daniel is standing by live as she continues to catch us up to speed on how the recovery effort is going in Greene County, and very important work being done with that county substation, right, Ansley?
Yes, Casey, you're absolutely right. I am standing here with TJ Manis, the operations director for Greene County EMS. TJ, thanks so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Well, first off, I know that you had to create a substation. Tell me a little bit about where that substation is and what's being offered there.
We did have to relocate an ambulance and crew. It's currently at the intersection of the Jones Bridge Road and the 107 cutoff and Greystone Road. Just a critical juncture in the south part of the county that allows us to go all four directions.
And about how long do you anticipate that to be open?
I would like to give an exact time frame, but I can just say that ambulance station will be there until bridges get repaired or replaced and we have access back to the south, mainly southeast portion of the county.
And what are some challenges? We just heard some of the roads being out when it comes to the call times, and then of course having to create this substation. I know that also created a challenge.
It did, because with limitations on staffing and equipment, I had to just move some equipment and personnel around. Being staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we also had to have living quarters, a place for downtime, so the Tennessee Department of Health stepped in and was able to get us a fort, which is essentially a temporary living quarters. We were able to set it up at the Crossroads Hardware thanks to Mr. Brian Jones, and we plan on being there for the foreseeable future.
And what do you want folks to know about call times and what your office is currently doing?
Response times could be somewhat extended. That ambulance is stationed there 24/7, but unfortunately if it catches a call, the next closest ambulance is going to have to come from the city, just because of the closest access across the Nolichucky being Jones Bridge Road. Only a couple of places to cross the river, so early morning, late afternoon during those rush hour periods with the increase in traffic, there could be a slight delay in response times, but we've reached out to Washington County, who has some rescue units up in the south central area, and they're willing to come down and help at least get somebody to the scene quickly.
All right. Well, Mr. Manis, thank you so much for taking time out of your afternoon to chat with us. And of course, this storm still having a major impact a month later. Coming up in just a little bit, though, we're going to talk about the economic impact of this storm and what folks can do to help the small businesses here in Greene County. But for now, Casey, I'll go ahead and send things back to you in the studio.
Falling back, Mark, thank you very much. Hurricane Helene has taken quite a toll on our region, especially financially. Costs are piling up all across the region to repair flood damage. News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel live in Greene County for us tonight. Ansley, give us an update on the economic impact in Greene County after the storm.
Yeah, Casey, I'm here with Jeff Taylor with the Greene County Partnership. And obviously this storm impacted so many more than just homeowners, businesses as well. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Anytime. Glad to be here.
Well, first off, what was the economic impact of Helene?
So Helene, if you look at it from the manufacturing side, because so many of those businesses are privately held, it was in the millions. Most of our manufacturing base, unlike Irwin where they had physical damage, ours was lost time in production. So one of our manufacturers is a Tier 1 automotive, and when you're talking about producing automotive parts that are just in time, we're talking millions and millions of dollars. So we saw it more on the lost time side of it.
So let's talk a little bit about what resources and support that you as Greene County Partnership are providing.
Yeah, so we were the secondary mouthpiece for the county. So after the official word came out, we picked it up to push it out through our channels. And so we're also here to help support and promote, whether it's Region Ahead, AidNet, which we talked about earlier, and then also our small business grant.
And let's talk a little bit about that small business grant. How does it work and who is it for?
Yeah, so you can apply online, go to the Greene County Partnership website. It is strictly for Greene County businesses and small businesses, 50 employees or less. So obviously when the water went out, the power went out, they're completely shut down. And so if you're a small business, you reside or you're based in Greenville or Greene County, and then also 50 or less employees, we have an application, you fill it out, it goes through a review committee, and we cut a check. Pretty easy stuff.
And how large are these grants going to these businesses?
It varies. We have not awarded our first grant yet. Actually, the applications, we just got our first batch. So we do these as they come in. Okay. And so we sent them today to the grant review committee. I can tell you during COVID, because this was launched also during COVID, those grants averaged anywhere between $3,000 and $5,000. So they're pretty healthy. Again, it was to help provide cash flow. This one, we'll see where they go.
And again, I know that you just mentioned that a lot of these places, they lost time, and time is money. Yep. What do you want folks to know about the impacts a month later and how they can continue to support these businesses?
We've again launched a Shop Small initiative, Shop Local, and so really it's to be aware businesses are back. They were shut down, and especially in a small business, usually I have 1 to 2 employees, maybe 5, and so when you're at home trying to recover, you can't open your shop, and so resources get stretched. So again, this isn't a short-term recovery, it's long-term, and especially in a small business. Obviously the holiday season is coming up, which is great, but you still lost 2 weeks of your business being open. And so again, shopping local, and a lot of them ship as well, so you can reach out and have things online, but we're really pushing shop local, shop small.
Absolutely. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for being here this evening. Again, a lot of great information was said here in Greene County tonight, and of course it'll all be online in just a bit. But they are still recovering. The road to recovery is going to be long, so continue to keep these folks in your thoughts and help as much as you can. Casey?